Céad Míle Fáilte. Welcome to the Treasured Tales of Ireland, a place where you can come and listen to the many myths, legends, folk tales, and fairy tales of the Emerald Isle, helping to keep the stories of the past alive. My name is Myla Butterworth, and I will be your teller of tales. I hope you'll join me each week for new stories, and if you enjoy my work, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Additionally, be sure to explore my many other story collections for more tales. Before we begin, please note that if you're using the closed caption feature of this video, that many Irish names may not sound the way they appear, and we've made every effort to pronounce them correctly. Now, let's get started. Today we continue with the Book of the Fianna, Huntings and Enchantments, with the story of Ilbrec of Ess Ruadh, Part 7 of 14, Episode 45. One time Caoilte was hunting on Boinne, and he went on to Ess Ruadh. And when he came near the hill of the Sidhe, that is there, he saw a young man waiting for him, having a crimson fringed cloak about him, and on his breast a silver brooch and a white shield ornamented with linked beasts of red gold, and his hair rolled in a ball at the back and covered with a gold cap. And he had a heavy green weapons, and he was holding 2 hounds in a silver chain. And when Caoilte came up to him, he gave him 3 loving kisses and sat down beside him on the grass. "Who are you, young champion?" said Caoilte. "I am Derg, son of Owen of the people of Uisneach," he said, "and foster brother of your own." Caoilte knew him then, and he said, "And what is your life with your mother's people, the Tuatha Dé Danann in Sidhe? Ah, there is nothing wanting to us there of food or of clothing," said the young man. "But for all that," he said, "I would sooner live the life of the worst treated of the serving boys of the Fianna than the life I am living in the hill of the Sidhe." "Lonely as you are at your hunting today," said Caoilte, "it is often I saw you coming to the valley of the 3 waters in the south, where the Shore and the Beor and the Barva come together with a great company about you, 1,500 young men, 1,500 serving boys, and 1,500 women." "That was so," said Derg, "and although myself and my gentle hounds are living in the hill of the Sidhe, my mind is always on the Fianna. And I remember well the time," he said, "when you yourself won the race against Finn's lasting black horse. And come now into the hill," he said, "for the darkness of the night is coming on." So he brought Caoilte into the hill with him, and they sat down in their right places. It was at that time now there was great war between Fionnachaidh and Ilbrec of Ess Ruadh. They used a bird with an iron beak and a tail of fire to come every evening to the golden window of Ilbrec's house, and there he would shake himself till he would not leave sword or pillow or shield or pay or spear and rack, but they could come down on the heads of the people in the house, and whatsoever they would throw at the bird, it is on the heads of some of themselves it would fall. And the night Caoilte came in, the hall was made ready for a feast, and the bird came in again, and did the same destruction as before, and nothing throughout him would touch him at all. "Is it long the bird has been doing this?" said Caoilte. "Through the length of a year now," said Derg, "since we went to war with the Sidhe Fionnachaidh." Then Caoilte put his hand within the rim of his shield, and he took out of it a copper rod he had, and he made a cast of it at the bird, that brought it down on the floor of the hall. "Did anyone ever make a better cast than that?" said Ilbrec. "By my word," said Caoilte, "there is no one of us in the Fianna has any right to boast against another." Then Ilbrec took down a sharp spear having 30 rivets of gold in it from its place, and he said, "That is the spear of Fianna, son of Conga, and it is with Finn maiden in to Alyen, son of Midhana, that used to burn Tiaur. And keep it beside you now, Caoilte," he said, "till we see will Lir come to avenge his bird on us." Then they took up their horns and their cups, and they were at drinking and pleasure, and Ilbrec said, "Well, Caoilte," he said, "if Lir comes to avenge his bird on us, will you put in command of the battle?" "I will give the command to Derg there beyond," said he. "Will you take it in hand, Derg?" said the people of the hill. "I will take it," said Derg, "with its loss and its gain." So that is how they spent the night. And it was not long in the morning till they heard blowing of horns, and rattling of chariots, and clashing of shields, and the uproar of great army that came all about the hill. They sent some of their people out then to see were there many in it, and they saw 3 brave armies of one size. "It would be great vexation to me," said Ilbrec the Speckled then, "we to get our death, and Lir's people to take the hill." "Did you never hear, said Caoilte, "that the wild boar escapes sometimes from both hounds and from wolves, and the stag in the same way goes around from the hounds with a sudden start? And what man is it you are most in dread of in the battle?" he said. "The man that is the best fighter of all the men of Jaw," said they all, "and that is Lir of Fionnachaidh." "That thing I have done in every battle will give you up today," said Alyen, "to meet the best man that is in hand to hand." "The 2 are the next to him in fighting," they said then, "are Don and Dovne." "I will put down these 2, said Derg. Then the host of the Sidhe went out to battle, and the armies attacked one another with wide green spears, and with little casting spears, and with great stones, and the fight went on from the rising of the day till midday. And then Caoilte and Lir met with one another, and they made a very fierce fight, and at the last Lir of Sidhe Fionnachaidh fell by the hand of Alyen. And then the 2 good champions, Dov and Don, sons of Derg, determined to go on with the battle. And it is how they fought: Dov in the front of the whole army, and Don behind all, guarding the rear. But Derg saw that, and he put his finger into the thong of his spear, and made a cast at the one that was nearest him, and it broke his back, and went on into the body of the other, so that one cast made an end of the 2. And that ended the battle, and all that was left of the great army of Lir went wearing away in the north. And there was great rejoicing in the hill of Ess Ruadh, and Ilbrec took the spoils of the beaten army for his people, and to Caoilte he gave the enchanted spear of Fianna, together with 9 rich cloaks, and 9 long swords with hills, and guards of gold, and 9 hounds for hunting. And they said farewell to one another, and Caoilte left his blessings to the people of the hill, and he brought their thanks with him. And as hard as the battle had been, it was harder again for Derg to part from his comrade, and the day he was parted from Finn and from all the Fianna was no sadder to him than this day. It was a long time after that Caoilte went again to the hill of Ilbrec at Ess Ruadh, and this is the way it happened. It was in a battle of Beinn Edair in the east that Muang, son of the King of Lochlann, made a cast at him in the middle of the battle with a deadly spear. And he heard the whistling of the spear, and it rushing to him, and he lifted his shield to protect his head and his body, but that did not save him, for it struck into his thigh and left its poison in it, so that he had to go in search of healing. And it is where he went to the hill of the Sidhe of Ess Ruadh to ask help of Bebind, daughter of Elcmar of Brugh Boinne, that had the drink of healing of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and all that was left of the ale of Gwynnu that she used to be giving out to them. And Caoilte called to Cascorah, the musician, son of Caoilte, that bade him bring his harp, and they stopped for a night in the hill of the Sidhe Drimnivid in Luanne Connacht, and from that they went forward by Esdara, the fall of the oaks, and Drimjarigna Fianna, the Fred ridge of the Fianna, and Dav Glas, the ford of the Grey Stag, and to Beinn Edair, and northwest into the plain of Caoilte, where the men of Jaw used to pay their tribute to the Formor, and up the footsteps of Ess Ruadh, and the high place of the boys, where the boys of the Tuatha Dé Danann used to be playing their hurling, and Ess Ruadh, and Ilbrec of Ess Ruadh, were at the door of the hill, and they gave Caoilte a true welcome. "I am glad of that welcome," said Caoilte. And then Bebind, daughter of Elcmar of Brugh came out, and 3 times 50 comely women about her. And she sat down on the green grass, and gave 3 loving kisses to the 3, to Caoilte, to Cascorah, and to Fermaise, that they had come with them out of the hill of the Sidhe in Luanne. And all the people of the hill welcomed them, and they said, "It is little your friendship would be worth if you could not come to help us when we need of help." "It was not for bravery I was bade come," said Cascorah, "but when the right time comes, I will make music for you if you have a mind to hear it." "It is not for deeds of bravery we are come," said Fermaise, "but we will need your help if we are in need of it." Then Caoilte told them the cause of his journey. "We will heal you," said they. And then they all went into the hill, and stayed there 3 days and 3 nights, at drinking and pleasure. And indeed it was good help Caoilte and Cascorah gave them after that, for there was a woman warrior used to come every year with the ships of the men of Lochlann to make an attack on the Tuatha Dé Danann. And she had been reared by a woman that knew all enchantments, and there was no precious thing in all the hills of the Sidhe, but she had knowledge of it, and would bring it away. And just at this time there came a messenger to the door of the hill, with news that the harbour was full of ships, and that a great army had landed, and the woman warrior along with it. It was Cascorah. The musician went out against her, having a shield he got the loan of from Dawn, son of Edair. And she used high words when she saw so young a man coming to fight with her, and he alone. But he made an end of her for all her high talk, and left her lying on the strand, with the sea foam washing up to her. And as to Caoilte, he went out in a chariot belonging to Edair of the yellow hair, son of the Dagda, and a spear was given him that was called Bebind, the war woman, and he made a cast of the spear that struck the King of Lochlann, that he fell in the middle of his army, and the life went from him. And Fermaise went looking for the king's brother, Olus, that was the comeliest of all the men of the world. And he knew him by the band of gold around his head, his green armor, his red shield, and he killed him with a cast of a 5-pronged spear. And when the men of Lochlann saw that their 3 leaders were gone, they went into their ships and back to their own country. And there was great joy through the whole country, both among the men of Ireland and the Tuatha Dé Danann. The men of Lochlann had been driven away by the deeds of Caoilte and Fermaise and Cascorah. And that was not all they did, for it was all at that time there came 3 flocks of beautiful red birds of Sidhe Fionnachaidh in the north, and began eating the green grass before the hill of the Sidhe.
"What birds are those?" said Allian.
3 flocks they are that come and destroy the green every year, eating it down to the bare flagstones till they leave us no place for our races, said Ilbrec. Then Caoilte and his comrades took up 3 stones and threw them at the flocks and drove them away. Power and blessings to you, said the people of the Sidhe then. That is a good work you have done, and there is another thing you can do for us, they said. For there are 3 ravens come to us every year out of the north, and the time the young lads of the hill are playing their hurling, each one of the ravens carries off a boy with them, and it is tomorrow the hurling will be, they said. So when the full light of the day was come on the morrow, the whole of the Tuatha Dé Danann went out to look at the hurling, and to every 6 man of them was given a chessboard, and a board for some other game for every 5, and for every 10 men a little harp, and a harp to every 100 men, and pipes that were sharp and powerful to every 9. Then they saw the 3 ravens from the north coming over the sea, and they pitched on the great tree of power that was on the green, and they gave 3 gloomy screeches that, if such a thing could be, would have brought the dead out of the earth, or the hair off the head of the listeners. And as it was, they took the courage out of the whole gathering. Then Cascorah, son of Conyan, take a man of the chessmen, and made a cast at one of the ravens that struck his beak in his throat, and made an end of him. And Fermaise killed the 2nd of them, and Caoilte the 3rd of them in the same way. Let my cure be done now, said Caoilte, for I have paid my fee for it, and it is time. You have paid it indeed, said Ilbrec. And where is Bebind, daughter of Ecgvar? He said. I am here, said she. Bring Alien, son of Ronan, with you into some hidden place, he said, and do his cure, and let him be well served, for he has driven every danger from the men of Jaw, from the sons of Gael. And let Cascorah make music for him, and let Fermaise, son of Olgabal, be watching him and guarding him and attending him. So Elcmar's daughter went to the house of arms, and her 2 sons with her. And a bed of healing was made for Caoilte, and a bowl of pale gold was brought to her, and it full of water. And she took a crystal vessel, and put herbs into it, and she bruised them, and put them in the water, and gave the bowl to Alien, and he drank a great drink out of it, that made him cast up the poison of the spear that was with him. 5 drinks of it he took, and after that she gave him new milk to drink. But with the dint of the retching he was left without strength through the length of 3 days and 3 nights. Caoilte, my life, she said then, in my opinion you have got relief. I have got it indeed, he said, but that the weakness of my head is troubling me. The washing of Fionn, daughter of Flittish, will be done for you now, she said, and the head that washing is done for will never be troubled with pain or baldness of weakness of sight. So that cure was done to him for a while. And the people of the hill divided themselves into 3 parts, the one part of their best men and great nobles, another of their young men, and another of their women and poets, to be visiting him and making mirth with him as long as he would be on his bed of healing. And everything that was best from their hunting, it was to him they would bring it. One day, when Elcmar's daughter and her 2 sons, Cascorah and Fermaise, were with Alien, there was heard a sound of music coming towards them from the waters of Ess Ruadh. And anyone would leave the music of the whole world for that music. And they put their harps on the corners of the pillars and went out. And there was wonder on Caoilte that they left him. And he took notice that his strength and the strength of his hands was not come to him yet. And he said, It is many a rough battle and many a hard fight I went into, and now there is not enough strength in me so much as to go out along with the rest. And he cried tears down. And the others came back to him then, and he asked news of them. "What was the sound of the music we heard?" he said. "It was Unya out of the hill of the Sidhe, and the wave of Clina in the south," said they. "And with her birds of the land of promise, and she is a musician to the whole of that country, and every year she goes to visit one of the hills of the Sidhe, and it is our turn this time." Then the women from the land of promise came into the house, and the birds came in along with her, and they pitched on the pillars and the beams, and 30 of them came in where Caoilte was, began singing together. And Cascorah took his harp, and whatever he would play, the birds would sing to it. It is much music I have heard," said Caoilte. And after that, Caoilte asked to have the healing of his thigh done. And the daughter of Elcmar gave herself to that, and all that was bad was sucked from the wound by her serving people till it was healed. And Caoilte stopped on where he was for 3 nights after that. And then the people of the hill rose up and went into the stream to swim, and Caoilte said, "What ails me now to not go swim, since my health was come back to me?" And with that he went into the water. And afterwards they went back into the hill, and there was a great feast made that night. And Caoilte bade them farewell after that, and Cascorah, but Fermaise stopped with them for a while. And the people of the hill gave good gifts to Caoilte, and a fish hook that was called Ilbrec, and that would not be set in any river or inver, but that it would take fish. And along with that they gave him a drink of remembrance. And after that drink there would be no place he ever saw, or no battle or fight he ever was in, but it would stay in his memory. "That is good help from kinsmen and from friends," said Alyen. Then Caoilte and Cascorah went out unto the hill, and the people of it made a great lamentation after them. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey. Slán go fóill. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this story, please give us a thumbs up and comment. It truly helps us.